Someone got the scritchers. Hello, everyone. My name is Commissar Hecht. Welcome to another edition of Painting Warhammer Figurines, Painting Warhammer Models. I am trying to chip away at my vast backlog, and we're working on the brown of the pouches. Just, just rotate that away. Ah, ah. Very well. I'll just do this. Working on getting the brown of the pouches squared away. Right there, all the ammo pouches. Getting that like old 60s, 70s brown leather technique. As soon as he wants to cooperate with me. Oh, you just had it. Come on. Hello, Basset. There we go. So we're getting the brown of that. And then we're getting... Oh, this guy's going to need more, like tons of leather on him. Because we have to mirror... Yeah, we got to mirror everything. It's not going to be exactly... But that's okay. And so, welcome everyone. I appreciate everyone who's joining me for the stream. As always, this stream is a charity channel stream. Any proceeds that we make are going to go to the UNHCR's Refugee Agency. Here's the link in the description. We're at $250. I'd like to raise $1,000 by my birthday, but if not, this campaign's been going on for a year, so we need to end the campaign, and we'll restart a new one, and that new one will be the same one, because anyone who's kind of been listening to the world, there's been a lot of issues with refugees in the world conflicts, and it's not a great place to be, unfortunately. So we're donate what you can where you can, and if you can't necessarily donate, that's okay. Share the stream, uh, share all of my socials, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, all that stuff, and we'll get we'll help people that way. And the goal is to make sure that the money gets to these refugees, which is why I'm doing it through an official channel, which is the UNHCR, which is the UN High Commission for Refugees. So there's that. So without further ado, we are going to get into it. We're going to be streaming until my daughter comes home, and then I gotta put on from the commissar's cap to the dad's cap. Um, and then I have to get ready for work tomorrow and all that stuff and whatnot, what have you. So we will be taking care of that and all that stuff. So let's get into the game, or not the game, but the show, as it were. All right. And we're going to be channeling our inner Bob Ross tonight. We're going to just be soft. We're going to talk about what we're doing. We're going to show you how we're doing it. And this is like super chill, low threat, lots of good stuff. Remember, um, we've got a goal to reach. Would love to get 19 subs. That'd be kind of cool. Again, that goes towards the charity and all that stuff. Um, but well, it's okay. And then let's make sure. All right, cool. And I'm streaming on what? Oh, okay. Happy little guardsman. Paint a happy little guardsman. All right. Oh, okay. Yarick, Bubba's, come here. Hey, Bubba's. Yarick, come here, Bubba's. Oh no, no, you're just gonna stare at me. Everyone say hi to Yarick real quick. There's Yarick. Bubba's. Yeah, 'cause he's scritching. There's Yarick. Yarick, say hi. Yeah. All right. Okay. He is the newest addition to the family. He is a rescue. He is Yarick, come here. Come on. He's just looking at me. You're looking at me like you want something. I don't have any food for you. Well, I do, but I'm not going to give him food. All right. Yes, he's a German Shepherd. Or as my wife calls him, a German Shedder. About a few days ago, he actually did shake, and about half of a German Shepherd came off of his coat. You're due for a cut. Just shave you completely. You threaten that every day anyway. All right. Okay, so we're going in because for those of you that are curious what colors I'm using a Doom Bull brown. All right, that's going to be for our leather. Okay, and the reason why we're using a Doom Bull brown is because older police gear, security forces police gear, was either black or a deep kind of brown leather, and um, so that's what we're using for this guardsman stuff. Because, like I said, the guardsman that I'm painting is an homage to the Operation Safe Side Vietnam era um, security forces or security police, as they were called. So I am very much being a nerd when it comes to you know when it comes to the history of security forces and security police in general. And it really helps because it's you know the fact that these models have berets and whatnot. It just ties it in so well. So that's what we're doing. We're doing little brush strokes, just getting the paint, just pulling that off the brush, pulling that off the brush. And any overspill that we make, we can just go back and clean it up, and that's easy. Cleaning up overspills, really easy. always want to try and get it right on the first go around, but that's okay. Everyone's different at painting. Everyone's different, got a different skill level, and if your paints spill over onto another portion of the model, that's okay because it's easy to clean up, and you learn how to handle all that detail as best as you can. And for some people, it comes naturally, and that's okay. That's okay that it comes naturally. For some people, they got to work on it. And you know what? I find that if you're not naturally gifted, right, and you work on something, I feel that there's more of the reward portion, like the satisfaction portion. Not saying that naturally gifted people aren't satisfied with their efforts or work. I just, you know, if everything is given to you, you don't feel a sense of completion or oneness. You know, life, particularly if you want something meaningful, it has to be a challenge. Now, there are those, myself included, they're like, that can feel like the difficulty is sometimes a little too frustrating. And that's okay. That's okay to be frustrated when you're dealing with something that you've never done before or you're trying to improve your techniques on. You know, it's definitely, it can definitely be a challenge and definitely be frustrating, especially if you're like, if all you're doing is going back and forth between cleaning up and painting, particularly when it comes to models, cleaning up lines or painting, making sure that the model looks like you've actually done something to it. You know, it is completely understandable to get frustrated about it. But that's when you decide to take a step back and you're like, okay, well, what am I doing differently that other people have seemed to get past? And always, you can always refer, right? You can always refer to um, other people. You know, there's never not when you're starting something out. Okay, whether it's painting or another hobby, you know, there is never, there should never be a shame of asking for help, right? Never be a shame of experimentation and trying to figure out the best way forward, especially if you're starting a hobby and you want to get good results, because everyone wants to get good. Everyone wants to be able to say, I worked at something and did good at something. So you should never be ashamed to reach out for help. Never be ashamed to reach out for help because someone else did. And particularly, there's this vast font of knowledge on the internet. Um, Now, some of the advice may not work for you, and some of the advice might. So you should always take the advice with grains of salt and figure out what works for you. And if you're in a rut or you're stuck, never be ashamed to ask for help, particularly if you're new. And if you're not new and you feel like you're stuck in a rut, you know, sometimes people have great ideas and have a different way of looking at things. And hearing those ideas, even if maybe they don't suggest something that might work for you, you might be able to tailor it to your ability and make it your own. So asking for help, you should never be ashamed of. Never be ashamed for asking for help. at least you're trying something. And there we go. We're just adding the brown. Like I said, we're adding the brown to the guardsman. Brown leather, if it wants to actually zoom in. There we go. I have to do it this way. There we go. See? Brown of the guardsman. Nice and easy. And we'll clean up the spill. We'll clean up some of the spills. Some of the overspill. And that'll be okay. And if it looks a little thick, you just wander down your bristles of your brush and drag out the paint that's pooling, and then move on. And that'll be good. All right, the last 10. Oh, hold on. Not you. Missed one. That's okay. And there you go. Just little draws of the brush. Let the paint pull off of the bristles and then onto the model. Little strokes. Short controlled strokes. And the short controlled strokes is the best way of, in my mind, painting little miniature details and all that stuff, because then you don't, in some models you can see the brush strokes, particularly when you're dealing with very bright, vibrant colors. So if you learn to short stroke the model, even on the darker colors, especially with the darker colors, you'll learn better brushstroke control and better paint distribution on the actual model itself on the bright colors. And then you can, particularly when it comes to like painting yellows or oranges or whites or bright pinks or bright greens, if you do the short brush strokes and you get the same amount of paint or pull the same amount of paint across it, you won't, it'll get that nice flat color that you're looking for. Now, I'm somewhat lucky because I'm painting dark colors on a dark primer. So you don't run into the same issues that you would with bright colors on a bright model. But I find that those short brush strokes tend to equal out and provide the same kind of flatness that you're looking for in dark colors and whatnot. So it's something that everyone should take a look at. And you know what? I am going to do a little bit of a touch-up on this model, even though he's done. Just because the edges are a little beaten up. But that's okay. And there you go. And again, I'm using a two paint pot method, one for my metallics and one for my regular paints, just to try and keep the fidelity of the color without having the metallic flecks. And apparently people liked that, the way I was doing that, so we'll continue to. I mean, it works for me. That's what I've said all along. Do what works for you when it comes to like your painting of your models, or if you do painting on canvas, and you use like metallic colors or different sets of like, I don't know if it would, I haven't seen a water based paint mixed with acrylics before, or oil based, all that stuff. But I'm assuming it's a similar process. And for those of you that are actual canvas painting artists out there, please correct me if I'm wrong. And of course, I know that there are differences in mediums and differences in like how you clean your brushes and how you prepare your paints and all that stuff. There we go. We got this knife and this leather pouch on the back. And then we can move on to the other 10. We're just going to switch cameras real quick. It's not that much of a difference. Okay, well. Just figured I'd test out each camera. Well, streaming late. It's streaming early, actually, Guacamole. It's streaming around uh, almost 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So, not necessarily streaming late. I guess depending on where you're at, if you're on the Eastern Seaboard, it'd be streaming in the early afternoon. Um, it's just kind of difficult in California because, like in Japan, if I was streaming throughout the day, I'd catch the East Coast and the Central Coast folks. Right? Yeah, latish for you. Yeah, yeah. And then I'd also be streaming when Australians can, you know, watch, and you know, most of the Asian Pacific could watch. But now that I'm in California, California's like in that weird place where if I stream late at night, the Americans, most of the Americans don't get to see it until tomorrow morning, and then if I stream, uh, uh, and then depending on if I stream, like Australians might be able to see it, all that stuff, uh, and the Japanese might be able to see it, or anyone else that sees it, like in Vietnam or where have you. But if I stream at any other point in time, it's like I feel like I'm just missing, uh, I'm just missing it. So it depends. It's a balancing act, really. I'm trying to find that sweet spot. Yeah. And then, of course, on the days that I have off, I either stream at night, or I stream during the day. And it's like I said, it is a balancing act. Hopefully, I can find that sweet spot and maintain consistency, because that's really, if you want to have any advice when it comes to streaming, having that consistency is what drives audience returning, right? And for quite a while now, I haven't had that consistency. I'm going to be honest with myself and with you guys. I haven't had that consistency, um, uh, because this is more of the hobby side. I Because I'm still active duty military. I haven't. I The viability of the channel isn't my primary focus. So take that with what you will. Now, when I'm retired, sure, I might try and make this full time, but it also depends on, um, what else comes along. If when I retire a job opens up that is, in Massachusetts and where we live, or close by where we live, and it pays good and whatnot, then I'll still maintain this streaming as like the hobby side. Uh, but um, definitely not, you know, or if this turns out to be big and I'm able to do it full time, great, particularly if I can fund, maintain a decent lifestyle for my children and my wife and myself, and be able to push, the charity stuff more aggressively, and be able to fund that, then great. I'm fantastic. That'll make me really happy. But I can't do that until I get out of the military, and I'm not done with the Air Force just yet. And I don't think the Air Force is done with me. Did you see the new Twitch category? Yes, I am actually streaming on the new Twitch category, miniatures and models. I am. I'm actually streaming on that right now. So now everyone knows what I'm about. I mean, everyone should know what I'm about. And if it doesn't work, hey, go back to Warhammer and do all that stuff. Stream on Warhammer. Once we're done with these leather pouches, we're going to switch to the khaki and do the light brown for the backpacks. I'm knackered out of the way, can't stay long. Have a good day. Well, thank you. Thank you for at least popping in and saying hi. I appreciate everyone that supports. It means a lot to me, and I hope that everyone has a good day. As we're working on the brushes, or sorry, on the paint. Yeah. Let's just... There we go. Let's just take care of that. And take care of that. There we go. Sorry, we just had two bots try and offer to... Oh, buy likes, best viewers. All that stuff. It's very upsetting. Like, don't get me wrong, I would love to get big, but I want to get big honestly. I want to be popular honestly. I don't want people to just offer me views and subscriptions for the hell of it. I want everyone to be genuine, supporting the causes that I champion, not just, not just getting there artificially. don't do things like that here. And continue to batch paint. I find that batch painting is probably the easiest way of getting the volume of soldiers I have done in a somewhat quick fashion. I'm not the fastest painter. I am not by any stretch of the imagination the fastest painter, but I do like to try and get my models done in a fairly, for lack of a better word, in a fairly quick fashion. And we're just double checking, making sure we didn't miss any brown. Didn't miss any brown pouches. Just double checking. Oh, we did miss a brown. We did miss more pouches. That's okay. That's alright. Missing pouches is fine. Reason why is because we can just fix it. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. too heavy, but you know what? While that dries, that'll probably when that dries, that'll probably be better. Have you ever tried the slap chop method? Also, my name changed, but I'm Leptic Warrior. On your first giveaways a year ago, back when you did battle reports more often. Well, thank you. By the way, welcome back. Welcome back. I haven't tried the slap chop method. I'm not saying that the slap chop method isn't a good method, um, but that requires me to change my primer and the paints that I would use. And I find that because the slap chop method only works if you prime the model white first. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. The slap chop method is you prime the model white first, and then you do the lighter colors, and then you add the shadow in. That's how you do the slap chop method. And for me, I find that um, because I'm painting with darker colors and darker, um, and darker, you know, colors in and of itself. Like I prime Chaos Black or Abaddon Black, and then I use the Astra Militarum or Catachan Green, and then I use like the darker browns and tans. The only really I only started it after I got into airbrushing. Well, see, you're better than me there. Uh, you're better than me because I'm not really good at airbrushing. Um, and even if I wanted to have an airbrush, it's a fairly large. I mean, well, there are some more compact airbrushes nowadays, but uh, I I don't have a whole lot of space to put an airbrush system with me. Um, so it'd be just more, and I prefer the bristle, the old method of hand painting. Not that airbrushing isn't hand painting; it's just there's more technology to it, and I want to see the I use it for base, zenithal, OSL. I'm not that fancy with it. Well, again, you have a better skill set than me. I'll just be honest about that. I prefer seeing the bristles touch the model, and with airbrushing, you don't get that um, you don't have that ability to see it. So that's where I get kind of hung up. So, but that's not saying that people, if you want to airbrush, you can't. I'm not good at it. I don't think I'll be good at it. And will I want to try it? Sure, but definitely not on this army. This army is, in my opinion, has too dark coloring and relies on too fine details for me to truly master an airbrush and be feel comfortable with it. But that's not to say that I may not expand my that's not to say that I may not expand my abilities. I just at this state currently I am not going to try an airbrush. Some of the personal effect for sure. I don't blame you. It takes away some of the personal effect for sure. I mean, if you paint with an airbrush, I'm not. you're still affecting it. I just prefer like the older method of seeing the paint leave the bristles onto the model, and then you figuring out, okay, do I need to clean it up? Do I need to tighten it? Do I need to, what have you? I think that airbrushing definitely has its place. If you want to make your model look like that it's glowing or has some sort of like ethereal look to it, an airbrush is would do wonders in my opinion. I think an airbrush would look great, but for this case, seeing as I'm not using an airbrush, you know, and I'm not going to be using like making them look glowing and all that stuff. You know, that's where I'm at. I spent hours practicing on power swords that I had spent years on and a broken Eldar flyer. Well, yeah, I mean, you always got to have a practice model, a test piece. Um, and some people prefer airbrushing over manual brushing, and my hat's off to them because I think that I prefer inking to airbrushing OSL truly. Um, but getting down that initial soft glow airbrush just has a nice touch. No, I think um, for those of you that master airbrush, your models look wonderful, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous that you have that ability and take that time. Uh, but as far as like my method of painting, because the models I paint are darkly painted, I don't know if I could pull off slap chop effectively. And it's not because I'm unwilling to try, it's because I just don't have the time to really dedicate for something as labor intensive yet as learning that new skill, and then also not necessarily learning but developing that, okay, that's enough of this color, that's enough of that like the blotchiness of a slap chop, or not necessarily blotchiness, but you know what I'm getting at, the look of the slap chop. So I would love to start experimenting with other light sources. um, but that's something different. Again, when I think I have the time. I still feel like I'm trying to get the basis of painting down. I found orcs were the easiest to learn on. Okay. And by the way, GW Tinkles, how have you been? It's been a long while since you've come into the chat. I appreciate you joining me for this stream. I hope everything is well, and I hope um, life has treated you good. By the way, for those of you that are not seeing it in the chat bubble, it's been on GW Tinkles is talking to me through YouTube because I stream on both YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Kick. Been good, my guy. Been travel welding for the last few years after my firstborn kid. Had to do, yep, can agree, but retired now, though. Well, I'm glad you retired. I'm glad the traveling welding thing paid off and paid out. that can be stressful. So, good on you. I worked 7 days a week for 10 months, almost 6 years. Now I'm the stay-at-home parent and get to see them go to school. Oh, that's the dream. That's the dream, being a stay-at-home parent and get to see them off to school. I don't know if I could survive it, but because I always want to be able to do something. But that'd be kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. If I kept doing, I'd suffer some knee damage on my last contract. I could hardly do stairs now, and knees tore both. Ooh, ooh, buddy. I hope you're getting compensated for that. Hope you're getting medical benefits. That sounds really bad. Getting torn ligaments in knees. Well, I was paid not to sue. It was an overlooked safety injury that was reported, a safety violation reported weeks ago. Oh my lord. I'm so sorry, man. Well, if you were paid not to sue, I hope that payout was definitely worth it. Well worth it. Nothing permanent. Nothing done permanently. Well, like I said, whenever you run into something like that, like life wise, it's always something that is, get it documented, get it documented, get it documented. You have proof. That way, when someone comes back and says, "Well, it's this isn't X or this isn't Y or this isn't X or this is Y," nah, nah, get it documented. That way, they can't come back to you and cheat you. Because unfortunately, it is sad to say it. Unfortunately, there are, you know, Gone are the days of. I mean, I guess there were really no days because there have been times where I've heard of you know honest actors, companies being honest actors, and then there have been times where companies aren't honest actors. If something happens to you while you're at work, you should always get it documented because at the end of the day, you know, people who the owners of either a company or the owners of the product that you're working on, they're going to get their money's worth out of you, whether you are, necessarily willing or unwilling to do it. Um, so in those cases, you should always pursue making sure that you get your money's worth as well. Because companies, whether they are pro worker or anti worker, their job is to make the most amount of money possible. And that's something that, you know, is a through line for most businesses or companies is ensuring that, their bottom line is always good. So, while you are while they are benefiting off of your labor, make sure that you get make sure that when it comes time to settle up or kitty up, um, you know, make sure that you get yours as well. Because in the end, when you do leave that company, they don't care about you, and you are replaceable. And that goes for the private and the public sector. Lots of money hungry companies that would rather look the other way and not look after you than place the blame on you. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So that is 100% true. So if I could boil it down, um, whether it's public industry or private industry, you know, they are benefiting off of the work that you give them. So if something terrible happens to you, um, or if something um, is done and you get injured, um, your recourse is to ensure that uh, whatever happened to you, whether it was through noncompliance or negligence, or you're an expert in your field and you're like, hey, they didn't do X, Y, and Z, you get that you get the benefits of that payout. I was lucky enough to be the highest certified welder on the site, so when it came down to questioning, there was nothing they could say. They knew I knew what I was talking about. I don't hold 12 certifications for no reason. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Armor yourself with as much knowledge as possible, so that if you know that there was something of wrongdoing, um, if you know that there was something of wrongdoing and they're trying to push the blame off of you, push the blame away from you, or sorry, push the blame onto you, as I should say, you can push back and say, no, these are the regulations, this is the law, this is what happened. You guys were cutting corners. And protecting yourself as a worker, whether it's private or public industry, is a big, big, um, is like your number one mission. Yeah, you want to get the work done and you want to do a good job at that work, but it's also making sure that, because at the end of the day, once you retire, no one cares about you except for yourself. Particularly when it comes to a job site. At the end of shift, a guy had been putting manholes the wrong way. Top deck uh, of the ship. He hadn't locked them, so you could step on them and they'd flip. And lo and behold, I stepped on one and I went down into an empty fuel cap. Hit my knees on several lateral. Oh. Were you working at a shipyard? Solid foot. Was lucky for sure. Only one knee got damaged. It was a solid foot drop. Jesus. And that's why inspectors are important. Oh my God. Oh man, Leptic. GW Tinkles. I'm so sorry. Holy hell. Well, I'm glad you're being taken care of. Yeah, working at a shipyard's dangerous. Yeah, I was at the shipyard at a time. Oh man. Sure, it's hard work too. Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. Pulling out a shaft of the boat by hand using 5-ton chain. This is rough. Yeah. Yeah. The definition of backbreaking work. All right, we're going to take our quick little first minute break. Our first hour break. I will be right back. I just want to have some tea ready. And then so I got to head downstairs. But now that I'm home, I'll try and tune in. You've got a Discord? I do have a Discord, Leptic. I do have a Discord. Oh, I see it in the description. All right, we'll be right back. I joined up. That way I can get notified and join more. Hope you're doing well. You'll have to tell me about your adventures. I'll tune in when I tune in next one. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, I'll be right back. back, and we're going to be doing some more painting. Still working on this brown leather. I hope everyone is having a good day. I really do. I hope that people are happy. I hope that people are doing well. And if you're encountering some tough spots in your life, understand that those difficult moments are just temporary. Things will get better. Life is very much cyclical in that, where you have famine and you have feast, and the days that you feel like the whole world's against you are the days that you develop a good way to inoculate yourself from adversity, right? And the good times will come and the bad times will go, and subsequently the good times will end up going, and the hard times or the tough times or the bad times will come back. But life in general never stagnates. So if you're in a tough spot and you feel like there's limited ways for you to kind of go and explore and try and get out of your rut, understand that you will get there. And I hope everyone's having a good day. I really do. I hope everyone is having an awesome day. Go. Almost done with the brown, and what we're probably going to end up doing is just cleaning up some of the khaki or some of the desert yellow, and then move on to commando khaki. And then once that's done, we'll probably move on to the silver, which is going to be most of the rifles and the other moss guns and whatnot. It's probably what's going to happen next. That's the T. Right. Now, while the T is steeping, we're just going to finish this one guardsman. Yarrick. Yarrick. Come here, Bubba's. No, he's just laying down. I thought he was just moving. doesn't know what he wants to. Well, he knows what he wants to do. I just don't. I just can't interpret what he wants. His Yark was like pawing at the ground over at the door, so I thought maybe he wanted to go out, but it's too hot. It's almost 100 degrees outside, and it's it's really difficult living in where we're at with the heat, because our dog's a German Shepherd, and it's hot. It's hot, and he's hot. So his fur gets super warm in the sun. So it would be unfair for him to go outside. Um, but I gave him a few treats because I wanted him to sit here, but he doesn't want to be near his kennel right now because it's sitting in the sun, or it's not sitting in the sun, but you can see the blanket that we use to cover it up at night, so he can cool off. That's so. You know, it is what it is. Anyway, let's get the tea and the bread. was growling, and you probably could hear it on the damn stream. So we're just going to take a quick bite. Some avocado toast, a little bit of tea. Old Bubba's. Now he wants to come over. A little bit of, let's do the pup cam. Oh, yes. Yark. Yark. You want to go in your kennel? You can. It's not a punishment, I promise. I promise it's not a punishment. I left the door open so you can go in and out. So if you wanted to sleep in a little bit of the sun, you can. Oh, Bubba's. Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. You can't have avocado toast. I know. All right. All right, quickly eat and then. We'll get to it. And we're back. Sorry about that, folks. Like I said, I wanted to just take a quick break, have some food in my stomach. All right, back we go. Little quick break, little quick tea break and food break, just because, like I said, my stomach was growling. It was sounding off. And a little bit of tea goes a long way sometimes. There we go. Okay. Nope, too much. That's okay. There we go. Quick little fix. That's why we use a paper towel. Excuse me. that one done? No more tea. Oh well. All right. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. There we go. Oh, no, I missed a knife hilt. A bayonet hilt. That's all right. No worries. Can always go back. There we go. There we go. Go. Nice and easy painting. Nice and easy painting. Making sure that you get all the details that you want. Not missing a beat. There you go. Nice and easy. Okay, I think this will be the last one. There it is. Yeah. Just had to double check on something. Yeah, the messenger bags. Leather too. There we go. Nice and easy. There we go. Oh. Okay. Now what we're going to do now is we're just going to clean up the web gear. And what I mean by the web gear, it's like the shoulder straps. It's this stuff right here. This light brown webbing. We're going to be using desert yellow. And we're just going to make sure that it's coated where it's supposed to be coated. And kind of nowhere else. And if we had missed like some corners or some edges, make sure that that's taken care of. Hold on, guys, just a minute. And we're back. That was one of the maintenance workers just letting us know what it would take to repair one of the kitchen doors because it's starting to splinter and crack. I filled it up this morning. I do. Well, I filled it up after we went on our walk. Are you leaving now? Line seriously get that long? I said, does that line seriously get that long? Making sure we get all the right, touching up on some of the stuff that we accidentally painted over, but that's okay. Hear the crunch, 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 crunch of a snack. He was looking at that tea biscuit like it was a treat. He was looking at your tea biscuit like it looked like a treat. Sometimes my hand locks up. Oh, yeah. Another robot trying to sell me cheap viewers. Get noticed. Be a bigger streamer. I'll get noticed and be a bigger streamer when people actually discover my content and if they like what they see. It's the only way that'll happen. Oh, I made an error. Damn it. That's okay. I screwed up. Yeah, son of a gun. That's alright. No worries, I can fix that. That's easy. That's an easy fix. Sometimes you forget that the model, like you gotta always reference the original model you made, just to make sure you're doing the right thing. And sometimes you always gotta double check and look back. Son of a gun. But hey, if you never double check your work, the minute you screw up is the minute you it's like something that you should always double check your work. Because the minute you screw up and you don't double check your work, you're never going to catch it again. Until it's too late. And then you're like, wow, shucks. And then really the only way that you can recover from that is just like going up and being like, oh, yeah, I screwed up. But every mistake comes with a lesson. And as long as you don't do it maliciously, I'm curious why you're asking that question. We have a YouTube commenter asking if I like fish. Why would you ask that question? It's one thing that I've learned on the internet is always answer a question with a question, just in case. It is actually. It is. it is a name for a fish. But no, that is my last name. Hecht. That is my last name. I don't necessarily know if my German ancestors were fishermen or if they were, um, or if they did something related um, to the fishing industry. Um, but yes, it is a particular type of river pike, if I remember correctly. Well, I'm not necessarily going for sympathetic. I'm that's my last name. Um, it's just it's my last name. I can't change it, nor do I want to. Um, my family has done a lot, uh, and I wouldn't change my last name for the world. So, but yeah, if I like I said, it's a river pike. Yeah, see, I knew I thought I was dorking something up. I wanted to make sure that I was doing the right thing, so I was sort of. Now that we got it good. We got it squared away, so we recovered, which is exactly kind of what I wanted to do. As soon as I saw the mistake. Now, what brings you to the stream, Mr. Stone? I just want to see some painting, something painting Warhammer. Well, that's fine. You're more than welcome to it. Are you new to the hobby? Are you an experienced Warhammer hobbyist? If you're curious what I'm doing, I'm just making sure I'm just touching up on the current straps and all that stuff, making sure that it's good to go. I'll touch up on the green as well. Missed a spot. That's okay. I have to tighten up those bristles. So what I do when I tighten up bristles, right, is let's try and do this. I'm experienced, but I like to see how others paint their models. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. You're more than welcome to watch me paint. So what I do when I want to tighten up my bristles, right, is you take the crease of your palm and you just pinch. Well, you should probably wet the brush first. Let's do that actually. But you pinch and then you rotate and then pull. And it kind of gives a flatter, if I can show it, kind of gives like almost a flatter shape. And that can get into the smaller reach crack, the smaller cracks and crevices of your model. I'll try. Actually, let me just switch cameras real quick. Let's do that. So I'll show it here. So to get a tighter bristle, this works for me. It doesn't. This is a suggestion that works for me. Just because it works for me doesn't necessarily mean that you like it or it may work for you. But this is my suggestion. You lay your bristle down, you pinch, and then you rotate. As you rotate, you get the excess water off, one, because you're using your skin as almost like a palette, and then two, as you can see, it's a tighter bristle point. So there you go. And it works. For me, at least. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine. I genuinely like to hear other people's opinions on how they tighten up their bristles. Just very lightly. Oh, switch back camera-wise. There we go. Why is it my hand is locking up? There we go. Much better. We just need a little bit more paint. Tighten that up. So, Imperial. Well, yes, I do paint Imperial Guard. Imperial Guard was my first army when I started Warhammer way back when in 2002, 2003. God, my hands. I'm gonna shake it out real quick. There we go. Occasionally my hands will lock up as I'm painting. And it's painful, but, you know, occupational hazards when it comes to mini painting. So what do you play, Mr. Stone? Oh man, damn. Wow, this is really being a problem. Plays Eldar. All right, cool. Very cool. Was that your first army, or is that like a like? Do you collect multiple armies? Do you particularly collect a craft world? Do you paint a certain craft world? Is it a homebrew craft world? Uh, First I collect multiple armies, but yeah, it gets expensive. Yeah, I understand that it gets expensive. What armies have you collected? Like I understand Games Workshop is expensive, or Warhammer in general is expensive. Like that kind of goes without saying. I was asking what kind of armies have you collected? Do you have full armies, or do you collect like squads? Some people collect squads and only play one army. The first class craft worlds, Chaos Space Marines, and Space Wolves. Oh, okay. So a good bit, a good bit. What kind of craft worlds do you, or what craft world do you normally kind of relate yourself to? Is it Samhain? Is it Ulthuan? Is it Eodin or Eodin? I think that's how they say it. Beltian or Beltane. It's really hard sometimes to get the appropriate. Ulthway. Mymeria is one. I don't know that one. I'm not familiar with Mymeria. What is Mymeria? What was their like big? I'm not familiar with Eldar lore, so but I've never heard of that one. So like, what's their big like claim to fame, if any? They were the first to understand what they did was wrong before the birth of Slanesh. Oh, so they were Exodites, or pre-Exodite. Ah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, very cool. Very cool. I like it. All right, I think we did all the brown. I think we got done a decent amount of touch up. Oh, that one needs to be touched up a little bit more. All right, I think we can move on to like the khaki. Which that will be really cool to get that done. That'll be really cool to get done. Alright. I'm just trying to think of what else. I can touch up on the green a little bit later because we're not done just yet. Much as much as I want to touch up on the green, we're not quite done. We're not quite done. We're getting there. I just want to make sure that we clean up like glaring mistakes. I'll touch up on the black later too. All right, I think we're gonna move on from the standard green, and we're gonna go to commando khaki, or Carrick stone as it's called now. Unless I got some that's sitting right now. Oh, it's right here. Oh, I was being silly. You're painting Cadians or custom? Well, the models are Cadian based, but they are historically based off of Operation Safe Side. Let me get you the. So it was the 1041st U.S. Air Force Security Police Test Squadron at Cat Phu Air Base in Vietnam. The picture. I just open image in new tab. Copy that image address, and let's see if you guys can see it. Hopefully you can. So this is because I'm in the military, right? I'm in the United States Air Force Security Forces. This particular color scheme I'm adopting from the Vietnam era uniform code, right? Uniforms of the Vietnam area during the Tet Offensive, during the time where we were stationed, inside South Vietnam, and the um, like how security forces or security police at the time was called, how that became to be. Because security forces was considered the infantry of the Air Force. We were really only considered real combat arms, aside the pilots, the real combat arms job code during that during that time, and we still are considered combat arms in present day. But this is basically the history of the of my career field. So in honor to pay or to pay homage and honor that, I'm painting Imperial Guards as security forces personnel. So, and let me just switch overlays real quick so you can see what I mean. And let me throw on another light because we're getting low on light. So, using the standard Cadian body, right? If you can actually, if it can zoom in, I might have to do this. So, using the standard Cadian body, there we go. This isn't the best angle, right? And obviously, you can see that the paint's kind of thick, but um, maybe I can. Ah, damn it! Why is my hand locking up? Maybe I can do overlay 2 and do it that way. Cover it that way. There we go. There we go. So as you can see, the black is the black body armor. The green is the um, come on, focus. The green is the um, olive drab. The brown is the sand brown that kind of represents today's uniform per se, right? Because we have like multicam pattern harnesses and whatnot, and then um, the the darker brown, the leather, as it were. Actually, let me use him. The darker brown, or the leather, as it were, is for the vintage, or the more vintage ammo cases and all that stuff. Let me try and actually, I'm going to switch back over to the Commissar's journal and see if that works. See if this shows up a little bit better. It kind of does. Here, let me just kill that light real quick. So olive drab represents the olive drab and the black represents what we used to wear, because the kit used to be both in the olive drab uniform days and the BDU days. Our law enforcement gear and our body armor used to be black. And then the sand brown tones represents the kind of the multicam coyote brown, spice brown uniform bits of today, and then the blue berets haven't changed at all. And then the leather bits are the darker brown. So anything that looks darker brown, like this pouch right here, that's leather, and that also represents like the historical side of it. So that's how I use to represent security forces. This one is not turning out as good as it should be, but still. All right. And then we'll zoom in on him real quick. Hopefully, I can actually. And then I use blue for the overcoats and whatnot. So like the officers have blue, but to differentiate the officer corps, they have white uniforms, and that is because I'm kind of mixing both historical uniforms and then 40K uniforms. So actually, we'll use her because she's this is another headquarters unit. So I may have to switch cameras again. Son of a gun. There we go. Ahaha. So the color scheme's different for the officer corps. Like this is my Primaris Psyker. The color scheme's different from the officer corps because uh, the um, the history is that they're all nobles. So nobles wear white uniforms, whereas the line infantry wear the combat olive drab uniforms, and the white uniforms are specifically for those of noble birth, and they're considered dress whites. Occasionally, an enlisted man or anyone that's not of noble birth may wear a dress white uniform if they prove themselves in battle, all that stuff. But it's primarily saved for the noble Carta, for my regiment. So yeah, that's that's the only difference, and that's the non-historical version. So any of the officers that you see are rocking blue overcoats and white dress uniform stuff. So there you go. Let me go to the bathroom real quick. All right. So we got a little bit more time. We will start on the backpacks, but um, my child will be coming home here in maybe like the next 5-10 minutes. So we'll end the stream here shortly. Hopefully by next week I'll be getting into a better view or a better groove, and you guys will see more of me. Did I have one with a backpack? I did. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, all right. Hopefully I'll get into Better grooving. Okay, it's in my country. It's already nighttime. Well, I appreciate you sticking around. Thank you very much for watching and supporting and enjoying the stream. And I will see you next time. Make sure, if you like what you see, make sure you follow and subscribe and join the Discord. And I'd love to see your miniatures as well. The description is in on YouTube. It's in the description box. And for Twitch, I just have to type in socials and you'll see it. Although I think I've linked it as well on my profile. And like clockwork. All right. Well, I was hoping to finish backpack, but my family's here. So, if you guys like what you see, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, join my Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, all that stuff. And I and my Discord as well. And I will see you guys in the I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.